think I just got packaged. Sorry.
No. Bitch.
Quick.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to Out of the Blue. We're here and we're ready for another episode. Jason, let's start with you this time. How have you been feeling? What's new? Give us an update.
Um, since last time I went on an app and it was called TimeLeft, and it's an app where you meet up with 5 different strangers and you guys go out for dinner and you guys see if you guys are compatible and maybe make new friends. And so that's what I did last week. And I went out
And?
and that's it. that it was an experience. So would I do it again? No. Am I really proud of myself? Yeah, I'm really, really proud of myself.
Wait,
Before I
you
went,
you wouldn't do
hmm,
it again?
I wouldn't do it again. Um, Something surprising to say is that I was very talkative. I talked too much, and I
Really?
felt like I didn't give people the chance to talk. And yeah, which I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty sad. I'm not happy that it came across that I talked a lot, but I'm really glad that I talked a lot because I don't usually talk a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a plus. Yeah. Would you do it?
Um, like it would take a lot out of me to do that, but I get what you mean. Like I feel like if you don't have history, like talking about things with people when you meet up in person, you don't already have that like common ground. This is what I think about with dating apps too. Like I have some friends and they will just like someone will message them and be like, "Hey, are you free on Saturday? Like, oh, let's go on a date, whatever." And they just go. For me,
Mhm.
I feel like I would need to be talking to the person for an extended period of time because you need to have topics that you can pull off of. But if you've never met them, you're like doing the small talk, like, "Oh, what do you do for work? Like, did you guys grow up here?" Was that kind of what it was like?
Yeah, I think that was most of what was me. Like maybe just like yeah, asking like for example, I asked like, "What's your favorite city?" Like that you've been to or want to go to, right?
I know you
And
asked that just hoping that they would ask, "What about you in return?" And
you,
then you,
yeah, yeah, because like I guess isn't that how you socialize? Like like when I was really antisocial, I would be like people just ask questions so that they can talk about themselves, right? But that's what it is to socialize. It's to share stuff about yourself and be vulnerable. Be like share like some things that you would that you keep to yourself, right? Like for example, your dreams or something like that, right? I used to think that like when people would talk about something I was like, you just want to talk about yourself, right? But it's just a way for people to open up about themselves, and then in turn, people can do the same thing. And I
yeah,
didn't get that till now, and it's kind of weird on my part that I didn't get that till now, because it's kind of like it's like this syndrome I have where it's like not perfect syndrome, but like like you have to be so mannered and not about yourself kind of thing, right? It's just like putting others first kind of syndrome or whatever. And for me to talk about myself and start talking about myself this time, it was very it was a new experience. Yeah.
hmm yeah. I guess like naturally, if you're having a conversation, you're not going to start a conversation by being like, "Oh yeah, so like I love this, this, and this." It's like you kind of have to introduce the topic, and someone has to ask you about it. Otherwise,
Hmm.
you are just talking about yourself the whole time.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm impressed that
I
you
recommend
went.
it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Before we, what is interesting about that conversation is, so it was 4 guys, including myself, and then 2 girls. And when it came down to like talking about like, for example, on the app, you can see the astrological signs of whoever's in the dinner, right? But it doesn't tell you who's who. It just gives you a list, right? And so
Oh.
I wanted to guess everyone's astrological sign. Did not hit that. It's harder than it looks. And so I was like, I think I got most of them on the third or second try, but
hmm
some of them I was pretty surprised about. So I was guessing that stuff, right? But right when I start talking about the stuff, like the guys were not, they disengaged. They just like, whoop. right? And same thing when we talk about like spirituality, and not really spiritual stuff, but more of like the fate versus free will stuff, right? Like
Hmm.
it was a very there's discourse on that. The girls were like, you gotta believe in magic, you gotta have something,
Mm,
right? And the guys were like, the psychic, they tell you what you want to hear, they read people well, like they just know what to say. And like, and some one point that he brought up that I really that I actually agree with is that, um what did he say? He said that, um we're more alike than you think we are. So he
mm,
said that to mean that like they could tell you something that applies to everyone, right? But that's the point of it all, right? Everything is a means to something. For example, you go out to go to work out. You work out to exercise. Shut the fuck up. You work out to gain confidence, right? It's a means to the end, right? Just like
yeah.
going to a therapist versus a psychic, they make you feel a certain way. They confirm and also disconfirm whatever thoughts you have, right? So like in the end of it all, it's just like people have different ways of digesting things, taking things in, and sometimes it takes like magic, to like get to people, because sometimes they lose faith in the like reality that they have, and they need something outside of that to show them that. We'll get into this, but worlds, they want a different world, and we'll talk about this because this is something that was left unfinished from last episode that I didn't discuss, which I want to get
Okay.
into this episode. But the whole wrap up about that fate versus free will thing is that when I was talking to them, like I kind of like just like laid my perspective all out. And what I said is like, for example, before I came here, I um he a- let's restart. He asked, "Do you guys believe in fate or free will?" Right? And what I said to that was, what before I came to the dinner, I asked my roommate, "Pick a hand." I put two hands behind my back. One is yes, one is no. Yes,
Hmm.
go. No, stay. Right? And he ended up picking the right hand or the left hand, which is yes, you should go. And anyone could take that as fate. Like, what if in every single universe he picked yes, that's fate,
Hmm.
right? But then the free will comes in where it's like he picked yes, but I still have my own free will to pick yes, I should go, or no, I should go,
Hmm.
despite him picking that, right? So I think that, in my perspective, fate is the cards you were dealt. It is your family that you're born into. It's the circumstances, your physical, mental health, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And I believe the free will is how you play your hand. Um,
Mm.
and I believe that, um, it's a delicate balance between the two, just like everything, because I believe that we are always we always have free will, but then whenever we feel like there's a lack of personal empowerment, that's when we say that's fate, kind of thing. We leave it to something that we can't control, and that's what
Hmm.
we just classify it as, right? But I believe that, um, how someone answers this question really reflects their mindset, and if they think that they're in control of their life or not. And it can be a good or bad thing, because control needs to be in moderation, right? Because
Hmm.
I think like healthy people, they know that some things in life cannot be explained, right? There's like, how did I get this when it wasn't supposed to line up, when everything was pointing no, but why did it work out? Just like
Yeah.
how I went 40 in a 30 playground zone on my like advanced learners test. Why did he pass me? I don't know, but I passed it, right? And it's fate in a way, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then literally a month later, I got in a car accident with a deer. So that's fate, right? So things happen. It's unexplainable, but that's fate. And there's also free will, which is everything. Again, what is it called, Tia? It starts with a B.
Oh, oh, balance. Oh, we didn't talk about
Yeah,
balance actually for a couple episodes, which is
yeah,
surprising.
yeah.
I forgot about it
So
already.
yeah, how about you? How was your panel? The one that you had in front of your company.
Um, I thought that I did okay. Like, I definitely wasn't
Okay.
amazing, but
Why?
also because I kind of rushed it. And the
Hmm.
longer I stood up there, the more I started making eye contact with people. And then I thought people were staring at me. and
Yeah.
which they were because I was the one speaking and they should be
Yeah.
looking at me. But then I
Yeah.
kept making eye contact with the same people, and I was
Hmm.
like, I gotta wrap this up. I gotta get out of here. But all in
Yeah.
all, I still did it, and I still went up there and I still talked and said my piece. And
Hmm.
afterwards, there was like these two girls that came up to me and they were like, you did so good up there. And I was like, oh my God, really? And I think what you need to do, which is something I didn't do, is I was like, oh my God, thank you. I was so nervous. I felt like I did so bad. But I should have just been like, oh, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, why am I exposing myself saying, like, oh, I thought I did really bad? If they're coming up and saying you did a good job, I should have just been like, oh, wow, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stepping into that aura kind of thing, like,
Yeah.
right? But I also feel like it's okay to say it once. If you say, "Really, I did bad," and if they say what they said, it's okay. Leave it at that. But if you go back and say, "No, no, I did bad,"
Then they're
that's
gonna
even
start to
worse.
think, wait, maybe she did do bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, it was fine, and like it's something I'm trying to challenge myself with more is being more open to conversations because I can
Hmm.
very easily just stick to myself. Um, so yeah, so I mean, I did it, and like, was it amazing? Probably not, but also it was better than anyone else who didn't get up there and speak. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, that was it was good. Overall, it was good.
Yeah. I realized that after that time left group thing, how much somatic healing I need to do. Do you know what somatic healing is?
No, what is
It's
that?
like the way that your nervous system is programmed because
Oh,
trauma lives inside the body, right?
yeah.
And for example, holy crap, I didn't realize it. I didn't experience and had this realization of how much it impacted my body. I knew it did, right? But I just thought that like it was already programmed. It was embedded 24/7, right? But
Mhm.
there came a point in the conversation where we were talking about my work, and I told them I worked at the film festival, and then one of the girls said, "Oh, so you could have got us tickets, right?" And my program went in flight or fight mode when she said that, because in the past when people would say that to me, it would be in like a passive aggressive tone, right, where it's like
Mhm.
interrogating kind of like tone, where it's like, you didn't get his tickets, like kind of
Mhm.
like that kind of like energy, right? And so when she said that, and that's not the tone she used it in a very playful manner, right?
Yeah.
My body went into flight, and I was like, yeah, I should have. Like I just
What if
got
like
so scared.
you didn't even know that these people existed?
Like yeah, and so I realized that like there's a lot of work to be done there, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that I realized it because I shouldn't be feeling this way over that.
Yeah. I think I also need to heal.
I What kind of healing?
I don't know. I just think that there's healing to be done.
Okay, okay, we'll unpack this. Let's first start off with your birthday. How did that go?
The birthday was really good. Except I kind of feel like I like wanted to go into it with a different mental headspace than I did. I didn't want to be like partying, but I still partied because it's fun and you're with your friends, but I honestly feel like I would have not enjoyed more, but like for example, we did a dinner party, which was super cute, super wholesome. We
Yeah.
had like these pieces of paper and they had conversation starter topics on them, and
Hmm.
we're just sitting there talking, which was super nice. But then we had to like rush to go out, and I should have just not made plans to go out after because I feel like what I really wanted was the like sit down with your friends and talk.
Uh-huh.
Um, but anyways, it was still super fun, and like something I realized is I feel like I feel guilty when people do things for me, like I don't deserve it.
You
And your
you be asking me
birthday,
shit all the time. The fuck? What do you mean?
no, I don't.
Yeah, you do. So why do you feel guilty?
I don't know. I feel like if people like for example, the dinner, I
Mhm.
was making people just came because they felt obligated to.
That was what you were thinking?
Mhm.
Really? Wow.
Which is like not the case, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's just like not that they made it feel that way. That's how
Mhm.
I felt about it. So then if
Yeah.
they're like doing things, I'm like, no, no, don't do that, don't do that. And it's like, oh, it's your birthday though. Like,
Oh my god, Ted, that's how I felt on my birthday this year too.
yeah, like I don't, it's just like you feel guilty or,
So guilty. Like if you're not enjoying your time, like especially like, when you start thinking like that, you're kind of like scattered in your head, like oh my god, thinking about this, that, right?
hmm
Happened in my birthday, and they're like, Jason, this is your birthday. You get to pick what you want to
yeah,
do, and
yeah,
that's like what? I was like, just think to myself, yeah, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
yeah. And it's just like a lot of attention on you. And I
Yeah.
just am like, I don't like this kind of attention type of thing.
Why?
Um,
It's the one day that it's your birthday. You would
I
do this for anyone
know.
else. Why wouldn't you do that for yourself?
But then even then I was like comparing like, oh, my friend like got me this, which was super thoughtful and nice. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like I didn't put in the same level of thought on their birthday. So then I feel like a bad
Mm,
friend.
yeah. Yeah.
Like
Period.
even with you, you got like the nice sorry, not record player, record.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, which I said before, I'm like, oh, Jason always gets such thoughtful gifts. And like, I'm like, oh, I didn't do the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I just am
You
like,
got
oh,
me a housewarming gift.
no, I know, but still, I just, like, instead of just accepting the gift, it's like, I accept and then compare, and then I feel
Yeah.
guilty. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just weird. And I don't know why I was feeling like that, but I just was. And I was like,
Hmm.
I felt like it was like a big thing and I was making people go out of their way to do a lot of things. And
How did you
then
snap back into it then? What did you do?
I didn't. That's why I'm still here talking about
Oh.
it. No, no.
Oh.
It was still
Okay.
fun, like still had fun in the moment, but like
Yeah.
it's like an uncomfortable feeling cuz then like
Yeah.
cuz you have to like accept like no, I am like a good friend and these people do want to be here cuz they do like me and it's like those aren't things that you naturally tell yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just I feel like birthdays are
So
just kind of
that's is that
weird.
the kind of healing you were thinking about then?
Yeah. That's
Yeah, that
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
We gotta heal that part. By next birthday, it'll be better.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
do a
um,
solo birthday party.
oh, okay, well, I mean, whatever makes you happy. So what my friend does, with her friends when they were doing their birthday parties, where was this prompt where they would ask the birthday girl or birthday boy or birthday them, they they would ask them, what is something that you're grateful for the past year for,
Mhm.
and what are you excited for the year ahead? And I want to ask you
Right.
that question now.
Ooh, something grateful for, I would say the friends I've made. Um,
Mhm.
which I
And remember, like looking back, you were so scared when you first came. You're like,
it's true, right?
yeah,
Um, and like it was nice that my sister was here and I was able to introduce her to people she hasn't met yet because it's weird. You like always talk about these people, like my friends who I've made friends with from work and stuff, who are like super present, but to her it's like just characters, like she's never met them.
mm,
So it's like nice to be able to kind of bridge the relationships.
yeah.
So I feel like I'm very grateful for that. And then what was the other question? Like what's some
What are you excited for the year ahead?
um I think just feeling successful or like cuz in the next year I'll be done CPA
Wow, really?
and yeah,
Wow,
hopefully
that's so
fingers
fast.
crossed.
Holy crap.
I know. So just feeling like I can like close that chapter and just move on.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And start like actually focusing on career goals that I want to achieve and all of that kind of stuff, which I feel like all Because I feel like I use it kind of as an excuse. Like there's certain things I want to do, but I'm like, oh, I have to wait until I'm done CPA or whatever. So it's kind of like a crutch. So to not have that and just be able to be free to do what I want to do
Hmm.
will be nice, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Are you 25 now?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's incorporate astrology into this, okay? So 25, that means you're in your second house perfection year. And I'm in my first house. So what you dealt in this past year is what I'm doing now, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically like redefining what your self image is that you want to present to the world. What are you doing to keep like take care of your body, present yourself well, right?
Yeah.
And then entering 25 now, you're going to the second house, and the second house is all about what is what is worth. What does worth mean to you, right? So that means
Mm.
how do you make money, right? How do you identify your self worth? Is it through money anymore? What is it through, right? So it has a connection to your like your career, right?
Mm.
How do you want to make money? So that's going to be a big theme, which is basically what you're saying for the year ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it aligns, and
It makes
yeah,
sense.
it's gonna be big.
Yeah, another thing too that I kind of realized having my sister here, which was it was like nice for her to meet people, but it was also kind of sad because it's like our lives are like so even like
Mm-hmm.
my friends back home, it's like they don't really know the life that I live in a sense. Like even small things, it's like I like brought her to a coffee shop and I'm like, "Oh, this is where like me and my friends always go for our coffee after we go to the gym." And it's just like they don't know those little things about you anymore.
Oh wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I don't know what you mean. I haven't experienced that, but I can imagine right now. Yeah.
it's like, oh, you really like don't know what I do on a day-to-day basis. Like the little things.
Mm.
So it's like nice that you get to people come visit, you get to show them, but on the same hand, it's like kind of sad because it's like you realize you're not as involved in each
Yeah,
other's
and
lives anymore.
you're becoming someone else now, like a new version that they don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like during this process, it's so important to like keep yourself in check and make sure that you're growing to someone that you want to do. Like you want to be like they will think that you're different because they don't know everything about you, and they'll learn something new about you every time they like meet you and like talk to you, right? But
Yeah.
like it's so important to keep in mind like to make sure that like sometimes you get carried away in your environment and what people are doing around you and what you should do, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're growing the way you want to grow. And so when you share those things like, oh, I went to this coffee shop, right? You share it out of place of like, I enjoy this place. This is my peaceful place,
Mm-hmm.
rather than this is what I have to do. This is what everyone is doing around me. So here it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, like you're showing people those things because it's like you want them to know who you are better. Like it sounds stupid, but I don't know. That's just something I noticed having, and I've noticed it before. Like even when my dad came to visit and stuff, it's like cool because you're like, oh, I get to show you around and like show you all these things. But then it's also like kind of weird because you're used to those people knowing everything about you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, I kind of experienced this as well when my relatives from like Vancouver came to visit. I met them for brunch,
mm-hmm,
and I haven't seen them in like 2 years, 2 years, right? And our families kind of like separated, and they don't really communicate with each other. And out of everyone, I'm like kind of the one in the middle of it all, right? Like I tried
mm-hmm,
to like talk to every single one, but there came a point where I just gave up. And so talking to them again, um, I was talking to my brother-in-law, right? And to be honest, I don't have the best relationship with them. Like I would say I am not the one that they like the most.
Wait,
I
sorry.
think
Does
they're
your sister live in Vancouver?
one of my sisters do.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, one of the older ones in her. I don't think I'm in good graces with them at all. And
Why?
that's because of childhood, how we grew up and things that happened, right? Where I'm not like a good person, right? And so
Mm.
in that moment when we met again, right? It was like it's so when you are brought back to like a time and place, and that can be just through talking to someone or in being in their presence. It gives you such like a flashback, and it makes you like cocoon or recede into like who you used to be and who they think you are, kind of thing, right? And I was like really scared of that happening when I was like agreeing to go out to brunch with them.
Mhm.
But in that moment when I saw them, like I was just like, it doesn't matter what they think I am, right? I
Mhm.
know who I am now. I feel happier, right? And so
Yeah.
like I know that if this was a year ago, I would be like who they think I was, right? But this time, like I came so confident in a way. Like
Yeah.
I know like what I'm doing in a way, like what life I want to lead, right? Is it all figured out? No, but I'm in the midst of it all. Like I'm learning it, right? And
Mhm.
in that moment I felt pretty proud, and like my brother-in-law said that there's something different to you, Jason. Like
Mm.
this time, like meeting you out of like even like 2 years ago, right? There's something different about your energy. And he's not a spiritual or whatever person, right? And
Yeah.
my niece was like, "You mean aura?" And he's like, "No, exactly. That's exactly it." So like coming from like a 40-year-old man saying that when he's not in that kind of realm, was like, it was kind of like a sign. He was like, "Yeah, your aura, it's like a mature aura, right?"
Mhm.
And that's so funny to say because Taya, like I'm pretty like goofy, right? Like I'm not that kind of mature where I'm like
Immature.
strict. Yeah, I'm immature. I'm not like strict to business kind of person, right? I'm really like relaxed, laid back. And so for him to say that, it was a very different experience. And yeah, it's just like it really showed me that you are the creator of your experience. If you want to experience something, you have
Yeah.
to lead it from within first. It doesn't You shouldn't be defined by your like external circumstances. And I was talking to Muncie about this. Muncie was talking about just like things going on in terms of like work and stuff, and she
Mhm.
was saying that like there's so many things going on in this day. I don't think I can do it, right? And I'm like, don't let whatever's going on around you, no matter how busy or hectic it is, right? Where there's a will, there's a way, right? The
Yeah.
most determined people will go through anything and make it on the other side, and it'll be okay. So like that's the same kind of mindset in the scenario that I was just explaining, and also in Muncie's scenario. And again, it's returning the power to you. You are the
Yeah.
navigator of your world. You get to do it the way you do it, kind of thing. And
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's like a not privilege, but it's like it's a cool thing to share that with other people. You know what I mean? Like to show people how far you've come, or to be able to show your friends or your family that you are a different person. Like you
Hmm.
should look at it as a cool thing, because so long as it's for the positive and you're changing yourself for the better, it's like that should be something you want to share with people and you are excited
Yeah.
to share with people. But
Yeah.
it's just something I've like never really realized until this weekend, and it's like cool, but it's also, I guess, sad. I don't know if sad's the right word, because I wasn't like sad about it, but it's just like, oh, we're
It's just
not
yeah, it's
as
like
involved.
you you're in that moment. It's your birthday, you want to be present, right? But then you're so
Yeah.
preoccupied in your mind. How can you enjoy that kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of relates to a topic which I think I told you one of my friends suggested that we talked about moving and like having to rebuild your life, and like the how that feels and stuff, and I think that that's like basically how it feels. Like that's
Yeah.
it's bittersweet because you get to build a new life and hopefully a better version of yourself. But then in doing that, you kind of have to leave your old life behind. Not like
Hmm.
you have to leave your friends behind or whatever, but it is like you have to outgrow your old situation if you want to become any other version of yourself. Like you can't stay in the same situation, the same environment, the same people even, and expect that you are going to have some sort of a drastic change. So you kind of naturally have to like let your old life go and build your new life.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting.
I felt that way, especially the reason why like I when he said that I was more mature in a way. I really felt, and I told him that that's mainly because of moving out. Like I
Yeah.
told him that I can't imagine that was what my life was before moving out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how much like in times of like sadness or anything, I look back and I am so thankful for where I'm at now compared to where I was. And even though it's not where I want to be, I'm still so thankful that I know that it's only up from here in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like letting go of your like home, it's it's very true in so many different ways because for some people like they didn't have the greatest parents, right? And so you're
Mm-hmm.
letting go of something, and letting go is hard in itself, but then it's something that you didn't like in the beginning to start with, right? So it's bittersweet in a way because it was all you knew, and
Yeah.
it's bittersweet because of that, and also it's you realize that it didn't have to be that way. You suffered for so long or something like that, you know? Um yeah.
Yeah. And there comes a point where you do become, like you said, in control of your own life. Like when you're a
Yeah.
kid, you don't really have an option. Like you still need your parents to take care of you.
Mhm.
But there does come a point where it's like, okay, now it is up to you to make a change. And
Yeah.
whether or not you want to make that change or you want to just keep living in the same situation you were living in before, like it really does become up to you at a certain point. So once you realize like, wait,
Yeah.
I don't need to keep living like this, it's like that's when you can become that other version once you realize like it is just fully up to you.
Yeah. And
So,
even in this, like it can be the smallest thing in your life, your daily life that you look at and you think about. Like for example, for me it's cooking. Like
mhm.
before I didn't cook because I didn't care about my health. I didn't care about what I had to eat that day,
Mhm.
right?
Now
And
look
so
at your
like
outfit. It
yeah,
looks
I'm going to go spin after this, which is something that I'm so scared of, right? But again, with being on your own now, right? It's you're building your life up. And
yeah.
sometimes it's very hard to see how much you're behind in some aspects because you didn't believe in the life that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the hardest part is catching up. Like for example, cooking.
Mhm.
Learning how to cook at this age is embarrassing. It really is. And
But there's so many people who don't know how to cook and that
there,
are
yeah,
also not even trying to learn right now. Like they are
yeah,
still
yeah.
eating microwave meals. So you have to give yourself credit for that.
Hmm.
But
Um,
yeah, that's my long answer to how was your birthday. It was eye opening. Um, as in like, okay, maybe I need to like
Work
internally
on this
reflect
subconscious.
a little bit more. And I
Yeah.
also feel like I was just in like a weird headspace because we had a work thing on Thursday and I don't like to drink in front of work people.
Hmm.
But I swear to God, two glasses and no food. And I was like, I was,
Were you yapping?
no, not even yapping. I
What?
was lead singer in karaoke.
Wait, there was karaoke?
Yes.
What?
And I said like, "Oh, I'm not doing karaoke. I am not doing karaoke."
Yeah.
And like it's fine. Everyone is having fun, but I don't like I like to stay a certain way professionally in front of work people. But then there's also like you don't want to be the like uptight person who everyone's
Exactly.
like we're all having fun here. Why are you taking it so seriously? The problem is I I was only going to have like two glasses of wine, which I did, but there was like no food and
That's
I was dying.
that's how it works. They're trying to get you.
So
They're
now
trying
I
to
have
see you
such
slip
bad
up.
so now I have such bad anxiety. Now I have plans to go to Pilates with my partner
Hmm.
and all these things, which is like it's fine. We're just having fun, but and my friend keeps telling me like I need to just like stop stressing about it. But
Yeah.
I went into work today and I was like, "Oh my god." Cuz like I'm fairly quiet at work
Yeah.
and I kind of like to keep it that way. and now the cat is out of the bag.
Yep. Plus, it goes to show like it's out of your own will or not, it's gonna happen. It's gonna come out of the bag. So you just gotta roll with the punches, and it
I
wasn't a bad
know,
punch. You kind
but
of ate. You kind of ate.
I I ate too much is what happened. I ate too much, but whatever.
Food, but the karaoke, yes.
No food, but the karaoke I ate up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you deal with anxiety? Because you don't really drink anymore.
I don't drink. I don't drink. And I told Anna this, right? So Anna invited me over for movie night with her and Livy,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked me, "What do you drink?" And I thought she was referring to alcohol, and I say, "I don't drink."
Yeah.
And then, and then the next day, um, I was telling her about dinner with Muncie, and I told her that, yeah, I was trying to order a drink, and then Anna caught me and she's like, "You fucking liar." And it was so funny. It was so funny. Like we were walking on the street, like just walking across the street, and all you hear is the guy say, all you hear is I'll tell you another story, but all you hear is us bursting out laughing in the middle of the street because it was like a hot moment where we're like she's pointing at me and I'm like, "Oh fuck." And we started laughing because she was like pissed. She's like, "You're such a fucking liar." But that day, oh, having like hanging out with Anna is so funny because, for example, we were walking by a donut shop, and then Anna like told me that Andrew Garfield used to go here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I yelled at her. I literally yelled at her in the middle of the street. I'm telling her
Same.
like, "What do you mean?" Right? And I kept yelling at her, and she's like, "What's going on?" Right? And then she clarified that that was before I moved into this apartment that he
Mm.
was going there. So I was like, I never had the chance to meet him. And so, yeah, that was so funny. But my relationship with alcohol is I'm very fun with alcohol, but I also don't last long with alcohol. I
Yeah.
think I'll have like an hour of just jumping and rolling around in dirt. And then after that, I crash and I'm severely, severely depressed. Severely
Mm.
depressed.
Like the
How about you?
next day?
Oh no, the same night. Remember that day
Oh.
that remember that time we went out to karaoke, right? Before we even got to karaoke, I was sleeping at the restaurant. My head was on the table sleeping while they were eating Korean barbecue. And then I got
Uh,
there, I was already like coming down, right?
mhm.
I sang my song, I did what I had to do, and then I crashed at when we went to the bar. That was when I was like, I don't want to be here.
Then I
I
took
don't want to be
over.
here. Yeah, you took over. You got the shots. You literally held me and dragged me across the bar, trying to like be like a chaperone.
Well, I needed to, otherwise you would have been sleeping at the bar. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. But no, I think my
Thanks.
problem is like there's moments where I know I don't want to drink, but then I
Yeah.
end up drinking. And it's like
Why? Peer pressure?
I think it's cuz I know I'm more outgoing when I don't drink and like I have less of a filter when I don't drink because I think naturally that like when you drink you don't overthink things the way you do when you're like in a sober state. So then I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let me just like have a drink, right? And then it's like, oh wait, this is fun. Then you have another drink. And then I like wake up the next day and I'm like, I didn't want to drink. Like even if I'm not hungover, I just am like, I knew I didn't want to, so like why did I end up drinking? And I think that's the problem about the partner's house. I knew I wanted to have like a drink or two, but it
Mm.
was like I did not want to be like tipsy or anything. So in that one though I will defend myself because like I can handle 2 glasses of wine, no problem. But there was no food. Anyways, it's fine. We're moving on. But I think
um.
like I want to challenge myself more to be like if you
What?
don't want to drink, don't drink.
Think about it this way. I was listening to a podcast with Tom Holland, and what he said is, "You'll never wake up and say, 'I wish I had that drink.' Never."
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's true. And
Yeah.
like I think what I've thought about and what I need to realize is if you're the only one not drinking and everyone else is drinking, you're not going to be not the weird one, but it's because you think you're sober, so you're being boring or weird or whatever. And it's like
No,
if everyone else is drinking, they're not paying attention to what you're doing. They're waking up the next morning worrying about themselves.
no, exactly. And if anything, you can be that person. I know this one person who doesn't drink at all, but her energy is so what's it called, infectious, that you would think she
Infectious.
was drinking. It's so
Why do you have a
energetic
knife?
because I'm gonna unbox, but I'm telling you that you don't need
Mm,
to drink.
I
So I
know.
hold it up to you. You don't need to drink, okay?
I know.
Um, but
So,
her energy, like she's around drunk people all the time. Her friends drink, but she doesn't. But she has the energy, and she's still a good person, good time to hang out with, right?
yeah.
Because she doesn't need a drink to be energetic, right? And that's what you can do if you want, you know?
Yeah, like I just think it's like you don't need to drink. So, and it's true. I feel like you'll never wake up after not drinking and be like, "Oh my God, I was so weird." But you'll wake up a night after drinking and be like,
I wish I didn't do
in
that.
the moment you think you're so fun,
Hmm.
but then the next day you're like, "Oh my God, I wish I didn't." Like I did not need to be front lead singer karaoke with my work team. Like
I
they
love
did
that for you.
no,
Taya,
it I actually have so much, and this is the thing my friends are saying too, is it's like you just showed them that you could have fun. And I was like, yeah, but like I just didn't, that was not the intention, you know? Like I can have fun, but I didn't need to be that fun.
no, you need to be that fun, and I'll tell you why. This is from a direct experience. My director, she's young. She's very young, but she doesn't come out in karaoke. I think she's a lame ass old tired bitch because of that. Okay? And she knows she will listen to this and she will know that I said this. I say this to her face. Why don't you come out? Where
Yeah.
are you? You can't just leave in the middle of the party, which is just as bad as not engaging to that level,
Yeah.
Taya. It really is. So like you did it one time, you didn't do any too much after that. So you're
Hmm.
good. You showed them that you're one of them and yeah,
I think
you're human.
the issue too is like I need to accomplish things. So now I'm like, oh my God, what if I said something? What if I did something that like, you know what I mean? Because it's like there's in my mind there's a lot riding on like my career and like
Hmm.
the opportunities that I want to get out of it. But it's like, what if they also were like, you know what? Taya is way more fun than I thought she is. Like, and then they start inviting me more. Maybe it'll work that
That's
way.
isn't that the life of a partner in a way?
Yeah.
Socializing. Yeah.
Also, the partner was also singing karaoke, so like it's all good. It's just
Nature freak,
yeah,
right?
it's all good. But yeah, now I have plans to go to Pilates with the one partner, so maybe it worked out for the better.
I think it did. I think it did. Do you think you
But
would have gotten
yeah,
it? Do you think you would have gotten it if you didn't get your ass up and sing? Probably, yeah. But it
let's
goes
just
to
say
show you
no.
that even though you did got up and sing, you still went to Pilates. Think about that way, because you could have been like, you could have not drank, and you could have been like, oh, I got to go, I got invited out to go to Pilates with my partner, right?
Hmm.
Wait, let me finish. Right, I got invited to go to Pilates with my partner. I swear, if I was drunk, this opportunity would have happened. I would have been embarrassing, right? But it goes to show you did that,
It is true.
and you didn't take it too far, and it's a balance, right?
No, it is for sure.
Yeah.
But we're just working on it. But I just almost want to challenge myself to be like, okay, for 6 months, don't drink, but
Mhm.
just don't do it. The reason why I want to do it is because it's like I want you to say you're not going to do it, and I want you to actually not do it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I don't know. Maybe like New Year's, I'm like, could I challenge myself not to drink for New Year's? But then I'm like, I have so much fun with my friends. But it's like you can have fun sober too. You don't need to drink.
No, you don't.
But we'll
You
see.
don't.
We'll see. It's just we're
You know,
working on it.
and this is the intro for my segment, okay?
Okay.
And my segment is your world. Taya, when we were having our last episode, we were talking about politics. And although I was like, you shouldn't have to vote for anyone in that kind of mindset, and when you watch those interviews when people are picking like those like fifth, sixth, like on the ranking kind of
Yeah.
candidates and throwing their vote away, right? You think like you're just throwing your vote away, right?
Hmm.
But No, you need to have that power. You need to live in the world where you believe that whatever you want happens.
Yeah.
And like I'm so in tune with that right now. Like when I was having a conversation with my friend, the one thing that she said that she like really vibed with me on was redefining what your life means to you. And
Mhm.
even going on time left, right? The girls got out of long-term relationships, right? And they were so scared because they spent 8 years in a relationship, and all we want to be is loved in this world, right? And we think that once
Mhm.
we have love, we should give love back. And what that meant for like one of the girls was like they her partner wanted kids by the time they were 30 and she was 25 already, right? And she really had to ask herself, is this the world I want? Or am
Mhm.
I living in somebody else's world? Am I living in the world where everyone I love, right, has this kind of like societal, cultural norm or expectation of what it means to be in the world, right? Do your part, have kids, be someone who you can easily communicate and what's it called, negotiate with, right? And be someone with reason, right? But then what what does that leave you when you're all alone in your bed thinking with your thoughts, right? You're thinking
Mhm.
about the distance between your world and the world that you live in, right?
Yeah.
And that's not something I'm compromising on anymore, right? Like that's how successful people become successful because they will go through shit to get
Mhm.
to what they want. They will not conform to what anyone else thinks, right? No matter the doubts and stuff like that, because they live in a world where they don't believe in that kind of success, right? And so it's redefining what success means and how you can get it and what's possible. And so I want to focus on rebuilding your world, right? And it's
Mhm.
just like what I was talking about. It's kind of full circle when I was talking about meeting my brother in law and him telling me that I'm mature is because I don't choose to live in that world anymore where I was believed to be like this kind of person, where they viewed me as this, right? I chose to redefine what my world is and how I carry myself in the world. And you realize that, like, when people do hypnotherapy and stuff, they talk about a garden. That garden is your
Mm.
garden. It's not anyone else's garden. It's what you find relaxation and peace in, where you feel the most whole in, right? And so this whole like world talk kind of thing, I'm being so serious. You do not give up your power in any circumstance. When you give up your power, you give up pieces of yourself in this kind of world, right? You're not living in your own world. You're going further and further from the truth of who you want to be, what you want to become. And
Mhm.
and it's just like what you said about like trying to be like present, right? What world are you living in, right? Like is this like, even though this is your world, your head that you're living in, is this the world you want to live in,
Mhm.
right? And so it's like you got to nourish the mind. You got to nourish the garden in your head, right?
Mhm.
And that takes a lot of decluttering. And again, it's just like what we talked about with moving. There's a bittersweet aspect to it because this was our world. This is what we poured our like time into. Was it good time? Was it time well managed or well done? Probably not sometimes, right? But
Mhm.
the world is like the world will surprise you. And we talked about this in our time left group where you'll be so surprised when you think you're so lost and you don't know what to do about the circumstance, it will unfold for you because
Mhm.
that's where you're focusing on and that's where you kind of think and you kind of reassess, I don't want to live in this kind of world, this kind of thought, this kind
Yeah.
of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really just up to you.
No, yeah. And that's like this is where the spiritual and also physical comes into mind, right? Where it's like it's up to you, it's up to you.
Mhm.
Because what everyone can agree on is it's up to you. And so that's my lecture on the world and world building. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode. It was a very in-depth, kind of like calm, kind of
Yeah,
just
like
introspective. Yeah.
very reflective. Like
Yeah.
I feel like you thought I was gonna come back with crazy birthday stories, and instead
I
I
just
said I need to reflect.
I didn't think this bitch was gonna drink herself to death because of depression, but damn, yeah,
Here
it's
we
a good
are.
shift from our last episode. And yeah, it's just this is what 20s is, you know?
hmm One
Yeah.
one week you're up and having fun, and the next week you're not.
Yeah, no, really,
That's
really.
just the easiest
Um,
way to put it. But anyways.
So let's end it off with the song of the episode. I'm very curious to see if your song is gonna be happy or kind of sad.
So I found this song today and I love it. It's called Shade by Midnight Funk, but
Hmm.
funk is spelled Phunk.
Hmm. What kind of genre is
Um,
it?
Alternative.
Okay.
And
And
there
how
you
did you
go.
find it?
I had like the smart shuffle on and I was playing my work
Okay.
playlist, which is a bit more like calming music.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just integrated into the shuffle and I was like, "Wait, I love this song." And then I replayed it like 5 times over.
Nice.
What's
Five
yours?
times, damn. I can have that same experience. My song is Plan B by Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I think
That shit
so.
goes hard. That shit goes hard. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you need to work out, this is a perfect song to work out to.
Okay.
And that's the episode.
I'll
Let us know
listen
what you
to
think.
I'll listen to it. Yeah. Leave your comments, likes, subscription, everything. And we will see you next week. Next time.
Bye.